Hello, so my name is Thibaut Lamoureux. I'm the coordinator of the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry Engineering at the HEPL, and I'm also the co-creator of the Gender Equality Cell. We started the creation of this cell because 2 or 3 years ago I had a trans student. That's when I realized that the HEPL was allowing students to change their name and to change their gender. But after that, it was all. So they were on their own to inform the other teacher or to inform the students that they were doing some changes. And that's when I had the idea of creating a cell of people trained to help the student to inform everyone that needed to be informed of the changes. I discussed with the social services, with Corentin Gilles, and we had this idea of creating a cell to help trans students. We informed Mrs. Lapierre of this idea, and she immediately said yes and offers us to increase the role of this cell and to be there to help everything related to gender, not only trans people, but also women and everyone who needed something related to gender and be able to discuss any problem that they could encounter. That's how we created the Gender Equality Cell.
What is the impact of homophobia and transphobia on the mental health of those affected?
The impact is obviously really important. When you look at the numbers, you can see that queer people, they have 2 to 5 times more chance to think about suicide than other people. If you look at the transgender and non-binary people, the numbers are even higher. We can say that sometimes from half to 70% of them think about suicide. So obviously we can see that the impact is really important. And especially those recent times where we can also realize that trans people are used as bait for some far-right politicals. So the impact is, yes, indeed really important for them.
What concrete actions can be taken to combat homophobia and transphobia?
This one is a tricky question because if we look at the roots of homophobia and transphobia in the society, it comes from toxic masculinity, as a lot of discrimination, and this toxic masculinity is really rooted into the society. So if we really look at what we should do is to act at every places in the society where we find it. So it's really difficult because we are a school or university where we should act is with education, obviously. And the way we should educate students, because they are already adults, is a little bit more complicated, I think, because first, we need to inform every student. The first thing we can think is it only concerns students that study, I don't know, for example, communication or psychology, but it actually concerns all the students. If I take mine that are studying engineering, we can think they don't care about gender, but they are going to be, most of them, team leaders. So they will be working with a lot of different people. And I think we should, for all the students, light a spark somewhere to make them realize that not everyone has the same reality as them, and even though they don't have the same reality, it's still valid. I think this is the first thing we need to make them understand, is you don't need to understand everyone, but you need to accept everyone. And just because you don't share the same reality as them doesn't mean it's not valid. For me, it's the root of everything we should teach them too. And from that, we can build something better, I hope.
What advice would you give to someone who wants to become an active ally of the LGBTQIA+ cause?
Well, I think wanting to be an ally is already a first good step. But I think this is just the first one. And what they should do, first thing, is to educate themselves and not expect the queer people to educate them for them. So there are a lot of resources online, easily accessible. I think this is the first step you can do, is to educate yourself, to learn about how am I supposed to talk to someone that's non-binary, how am I supposed to talk to someone that is transgender. I think there are a lot of easy steps to learn, to start the discussion and the communication. I think it's the first part. And there are a lot of advice that I can give, and I will say a few of them, but there are obviously much more. I will say the first thing is don't focus on someone's sexuality. Don't discuss with people, don't engage in discussion like, how do you think that this person is gay? Do you think that this person is a lesbian? It's not any of your business. This is the first step. The gender of someone is not your business. Like, do you think it's a woman or a man? Actually, do we care? No. So don't engage in those conversations, shut them down, and don't let it become a topic. The same for genitals, the same for the coming out and everything. Those are topics that can make people uncomfortable. And I think the first step that you can do as an ally is to let people define themselves and talk about it if they want to. Is don't force the discussion on someone, even if you have clues, even if you have good intention at first, but just let the space for people to be who they want and not have to justify themselves. In conclusion, if you are interested in those topics, in the queer reality, in the gender reality, you can inform yourself by, I think the first resource I can advise you is a podcast with a lot of topics discussed in it, all related to gender issue. This podcast is in French. It's called Les couilles sur la table. It's created by Victoire Tuaillon. And it's really interesting because you can always find a topic that's related to you. And I can advise you another book. It's in English. It's written by Alok Menon. They are a philosopher and stand-upper. And the book is called Beyond the Gender Binary. It's really short, but it's really amazing to understand the roots of homophobia and all the gender problems that we can encounter in the society.